Hola, estamos con Erin. Erin es el líder en Interface. Interface es una organización que fue creada por una persona que se llama Ray Anderson. Ray, bueno, fue muy precursor en este modelo de Triple Bottom Line creado por John Elkington. Y bueno, Eileen está a cargo de esta organización y de promover los valores de esta organización de una manera sumamente altruista. Hemos conversado con otros líderes y nos comentaron el importante trabajo que estás haciendo por el mundo difundiendo los valores de Interface. Así que, sí, voy a empezar a hablar en inglés para que podemos establecer una conversación. Well, thank you for coming to Argentina. It's a pleasure to have you here, Eileen, and all the important things that you're doing, not only with the business model incorporated in the DNA of the company, all the sustainability values, but also the message you are giving to all the world, because you are a woman, and we as women have a very important role in this era in this economy. So thank you again for coming here, and tell us about a little bit what were your impressions of the conference, the headlines that you discussed in Sustainable Brands Buenos
Sure.
Aires.
So I'm really excited to be here. Thank you. I was excited to get the invitation because I've actually never been to Buenos Aires before. It's lovely.
Welcome.
And I think it's a really interesting time in Argentina. It's a really interesting time in the US and Europe when we're sort of thinking about what role does government have, what role does business have. And I think we find ourselves in very similar situations in the sense that there's a bit of a disappointment, frankly, in the US about the lack of leadership at the governmental level on sustainability. And so I feel like it's very important at this period in time for businesses, citizens to really stand up and be more vocal and to really talk about the issues that are important to us, not just as businesses, not just as Americans, but really as global citizens. So I'm here to talk about kind of how we can redesign how businesses think about climate change. And that really is a global issue. It's an issue that affects women and children. It's an issue that affects disproportionately the poorest among us globally. So I think about it as a challenge that some of the richer parts of the economy created, with the effects being felt on the poorest and most vulnerable. So to me, it is a very important issue as a citizen, as a wife, as an American, but also as a business person. And so our focus here at Sustainable Brands is to really challenge companies and organizations to raise their level of ambition on climate change. Our company announced 2 years ago that our goals are not just about reducing carbon, but we want to have a goal as a business to create a climate fit for life. And so we really want to challenge the thinking here and say, if you're a business, your business is made up of people. You serve people. People work in it. We produce products for people. So the goal of a business shouldn't be about a 20% reduction or just doing less. Our goal should be the same goal that the world needs. We all need a climate fit for life. So that should be the goal that our business has adopted. So we're here to kind of challenge the thinking on what businesses can do on climate change and to present what we're doing in a very small way at Interface to push that forward.
And you talk about people, and we believe in creating an integrated value, not just value creation, but integrating the human being in the economy. So I think your business case is very, very important for us, even for multinational companies such as Coca-Cola. We've been there with them, and to align all these values, because they need help also, and to learn how to co-create a better world and to co-evolve for the betterness of humanity. I don't know what you think, but it's good to have an activism in this kind of things and values. But what do you think about interface as a constructor of peace?
I think, you know, we as a business have a long way to go to figuring out how we do that. But the first step is really challenging the intention of your business. And so if you view your business as one that is just there to make a profit, you'll never get to that more inclusive business model where you put people at the center and we think about how do we deliver solutions that really help the world become a better place versus just making a product. And I think at least Interface has adopted the appropriate intention around climate change. We have a broad goal that's to create a climate fit for life. Now, what we need to do is figure out how we work in our business to put people at the heart and center of that. So a great example of how we're doing that is in years past, Interface would just buy products and raw materials from its supply chain. So like many manufacturers, we make flooring products, but the raw materials that the products are made of, whether it's the nylon or the backing components, they come from a more extended supply chain. And while we've done work with those suppliers to change their business thinking, we didn't think it was radical enough. You know, we didn't think that they were doing enough work to change that. So they had made great progress on things like renewable energy, but when you look at equality and equity in the supply chain, we didn't really feel like our suppliers understood a different model. So we created a pilot project with their support and with the Zoological Society in London called Networks. And Networks is a program where Interface works with small communities in the Philippines to gather up ghost fishing nets, to put them into a situation where those nets become a supply for our large supply chain. So it was this idea of how would we solve not just an environmental challenge of trying to get more recycled materials into our supply chain, but how do we solve a social challenge of possibly providing a benefit, a social benefit, or a way into an economy for populations that need that extra income. And so I like to think that with programs like Networks, we are creating peace. I don't want to oversell it and I don't want to be overconfident, but I think the first step when we think about how do we create peace is we provide stability first. So we provide economic stability. We provide a stake for people to come into the broader economic system in a way that recognizes their value and gives them some worth. I think that's a very early step. I wouldn't say we are promoting peace by our programs, but I think what we're doing is offering an entrance into the economic system. And not this broad economy, but in our supply chain. In a very small way, working with these villages in the Philippines and Africa, we're saying to people, we recognize that you have worth. And you're worthy of providing a service that can enter into this situation. I think that's the first step. The first step on the way to peace is saying we acknowledge the value of you as fellow human beings.
Wonderful. And how you see the woman leadership in this important role that you have in the economy. I see that we have competencies that they're very valuable for this economy. For example, our social competence, our social intelligence. How you see in the day-by-day business?
That's absolutely true. I mean, that's so true that I think women leaders are uniquely qualified for this next wave of business leadership around sustainability. Because if you look at the old model that was really male dominated, it was this hierarchical, directive approach. You know, kind of one man up here tells the other guys what to do, and we just kind of follow that. And that was fine if you were solving a small problem, a company problem, an office problem. But when we talk about solving a global economic problem, we need much broader collaboration amongst institutions. We need to motivate people not just with a directive, but with their hearts. And I think women leaders are much more able to sort of have that innate emotional intelligence that can work across a lot of different business cultures, right? Can understand when we need to have a different level of conversation, can understand that people are motivated differently. So I do think there's an emotional intelligence level that allows women to be uniquely positioned to that. And secondly, this ability to collaborate. I mean, talk to any company nowadays who's trying to solve a supply chain problem or the global plastics problem. And you quickly realize that is not something that Coca-Cola will solve from Atlanta, Georgia. It's not something Interface will solve from the United States. So when we talk
We are all
about
in the same system.
exactly, we're in the same global system. So when we talk about how do we solve these big global challenges, what that means for us institutionally is that it's not just our company solving it anymore. We're working with NGOs. We're working with local communities. We're working with a vast group of stakeholders that we've never
Even with the
worked with.
government.
Even with governments, right? So all of a sudden you have 5 different decision makers who are working on the same project, and we find that the skill sets required to collaborate at that level, to come to the table with humility and respect. I think it's easier for some of our women leaders to grasp that role and to play that role in a very powerful way. So I'm really optimistic about the role that particularly new women coming into jobs have to play, because it's a fundamentally different way that we're trying to solve business problems that I think lend itself to a very female skill set,
Yeah.
which is exciting.
Yeah, yesterday I've been in a gratefulness event with Mathieu Ricard and many spiritual leaders, and some priests, and really it was full of women, and seeing all what it produced, the energy, all the energy mixed with the with men energy, it was amazing. And we've been seeing some professionals in the psychiatry field, like Christian Plesberg, who is introducing compassion and meditation and all these techniques to help leaders. We asked Alexander Laszlo also about this, and yes, this is something that we can all only build all together through conversations, through dialogue, and being part of a big system. And I don't know if you know Otto Scharmer from MIT. He's
the theory.
Well, he's working very hard, and we are working very hard with him also, because he's promoting peace through science also. So we are little dots in the sea, but every dot is important. So thank you very much for, I feel gratefulness for your interview here, and I hope we can do many things together in the future.
Oh, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to meet you.
You're welcome. Bye.